Welcome to this year's session on Docker Scott and Amazon ECR. Just a quick agenda. I will just explain you, what Docker Scott is and what we are trying to solve, and how it's working with Amazon ECR, and then a quick demo of everything that can work. So yeah, just briefly, I'm Eve. I'm senior software engineer at Docker. I'm working on the CLI and the GitHub action of Docker Scott and some backend pieces. So the first question is, what is Docker Scott? And for that, we need to understand what we mean by supply chain. So imagine you want just to create a cup of coffee. You need your cup, you need your coffee machine, you need water, you need coffee beans. The thing is, it sounds okay, but it's not enough. Because maybe you want, some trademark on your coffee beans because you want to see how they are harvested, how they are packaged. You need to ship them, etc. So you have your first ingredient, but the supply chain is way more than that. It's a lot of different steps everywhere. If we put that on USAD, on softwares, you will have your different sources. You will have your build step, that is the coffee machine in that case. You will have your package, this is your cup. And if you apply that to, like containers, your package, you will be not your cup of coffee, but the container image. You will have your build steps, you will have different part of the code, but you will also have like dependencies, like your own code and someone else's code. And that's where it starts to be really interesting. But the problem with that version of the supply chain is you can have a lot of different issues. Every different step, you can have something that goes wrong. And most of the time, the problem is it's very noisy. You have a lot of issues everywhere. It's very, very difficult to have a clear understanding of the full supply chain because maybe your issue is not in your code, it's not in your dependency, it can be on the dependency of your dependency and someone else did something wrong. So there's a lot of problem everywhere. And as a developer, the tooling right now is pretty bad. It's very difficult to understand what it means, how I can, even where are the real issue and the one I need to fix. So on that, we try to, create a solution that will help on that. So the first part is trusted content. All the dependencies, we have like the official images, the verified publisher. So we're based on this trusted content stuff. On the other side, we created a giant system of record where we'll be able to store everything, and that will help to have a clear understanding of what is the supply chain right now. And in the middle, we're introducing some policies that will help to understand exactly what is good, what is not, what we need to change. And it's the combination of these three different blocks that will create a very nice developer experience for the supply chain. With that, the first thing we can create is to have a very nice centralized view. As we're storing everything at a single place, we can create a view of your supply chain. We can create a dashboard and all that interesting stuff. But on that, we'll also be able to create, to recommend workflows. So the idea is not to point where are the issue. The idea is to let you fix the issue and to let you know how you can fix them directly. And the third part, is also continuous improvement. There's a lot of different tools that just gives you an instant of what's of the status and what's wrong. The idea is to have a continuous improvement all time, to be plugged on some kind of event-based system. So, like imagine we're pushing a new base image, and as soon as it's pushed, we'll be able to say, okay, these are all your images that just become out of date just right now. So it's not just an instant, it's something that evolves all time. So that's our vision of Docker Scott right now. And so how it's worked with Amazon ECR, because we also have Docker Hub, for instance. But the thing is, if you're running on, whatever, EKS, ECS, or any other container solution on AWS, most of the time you will just have ECR because you want to be close to your production, because you want to manage your images with IAM and all that nice stuff. But the thing is, it's never just that. because sometimes for instance, the image you will build and that you will push on ECR maybe needs a base image that is on Docker Hub or GitHub registry of whatever. So it's not just ECR, it's not just Hub, it's all the registries all together. The idea here is to keep your images where you want. You don't have to change anything. Our goal is to secure your supply chain. It's not to change something to then give you more advice or whatever. Every time we will create your images, push your images, do anything you want, it will just be transparent. We just connect to just what you have. And we will connect that to ECR. And with this system of record, we can also track down everything. So you'll be able to know that this image, like you have in production with the vulnerability, has been built at this time from this commit by this person, because we have all this system of record. And it was not the wrong one. And the idea is to start where you are, is to not have anything to change on your side. So just a bit more technical, but just how it's working. Very specifically, the integration between Docker Code and ECR. So the first thing you will do is you will create a very small CloudFormation stack inside your system. And this will be able to create the link between your own AWS account and Docker Code. So we'll be able to have an event going to Scott, and we'll store some credentials in the secrets manager. And when you will push an image, as you do every time, so we have nothing to change there, we will get an event from there, and we'll be able to sign in with the credential to get your image. Like if there's already the SBOM that exists, we'll just get that. If we need to, we'll be able to pull your image, and we'll be able to ingest that. So we'll grab all the content, not the content of your image, but like the list of packages, the licenses, all this interesting information, and we'll put that back to the Cascade. But the point is, your push never change. If you're pushing Rhino images to ECR, it just works. And so with that, we can just see, how it works for real. So the first step, it's just to go to scott.docker.com. You need a Docker account, but you don't need to push anything to Docker Hub. That's different. But we need still one account. So if you go to scott.docker.com, most of the time you will start with this kind of screen. It just says that we have nothing on you. We don't know what are your images, we don't know your registry. But we can integrate with a lot of different components. So we have a lot of different integrations. We have integration, like about continuous integration. We have a GitHub action for that. If you have Jenkins, we can also work with that. Or you can integrate directly the CLI if you want. We also have integration about runtime environment. Like you want to know exactly what you have in production or in staging or whatever. It's not just the images itself, it's the context where the images are running. You can have, a lot of different integration. One thing also is you can have vote for them. Some of them already exist, some of them are just what we think we will create. But if you have any other idea of integration we should do, just send a message, a vote on the existing one, so we can know, and build exactly what would be useful for you. But here, we're more for the registry side. So we'll just go to the registry and see how we can integrate, the ECR one. So as I said, the first thing is we want to create this stack on AWS. So let's go just to AWS. So, it's the very basic. Just create a very quick stack. You don't have, you can change the name if you want. And there's basically two parameters that you don't need to change. This is just two callbacks to know when it's ready and to be aware of any new pushes. But that's all. You can just leave everything by default, and you just hit the button to create, and that's done. And it will take roughly 2 minutes, so that's pretty good. And once it's done, we'll send a message to an SNS queue, and we're just listening, to an SNS topic, and we're just listening to that. So if we go back to Docker Scout, and we just refresh the page, the integration is now ready. So by ready, it means we have a link between your account and your ECR and Docker Scout. But it doesn't mean we have your images right now, because the next step is to select the different repositories, because you can have a lot of different repositories, a lot of images, and maybe you don't want to enable everything. So let's just enable, the first one. This is just a demo one. And now we're listening for this repository. So every time you're pushing an image to this specific repository on ECR, we'll be able to know it and to ingest the data. So from there, let's just build a quick image. So we have just a quick Docker file. It's a very basic image. It's just based on Alpine, Node.js, whatever. It's just to test the, how it's working. And based on that, we will build the image. I will push it. There's just one thing. There's this dash attest at the same time. We want to get the provenance. So it's not just to build the image. It's also to know in which context we build the image, like what exactly is the tag you use for the base image, if you have a digest that is pinned, etc. We want all this context. It's not just what's inside the image, but we need all this information to give you the right advice when something goes wrong or when you have something to update, etc. So we'll just build that, push that. So all that stuff, it's what you should have already right now. You have anything that works, that build an image, puts an image. In that case, we're using Docker build, but if you're using any other tool, that works. The way it's built doesn't really matter here. And now, the second thing I will just do is just introducing the idea of environment. So the image itself is one thing, but where we really want to, when we're thinking about supply chain, it's not enough. What you want to, like an image in staging, if there's a vulnerability, this is not the same thing like if you have the same vulnerability in production. So we'll be able to record more data than just the images, and we'll be able to say, like, for instance, this one is in production. And later, I will be able to reference this one by just production. So I'll be able to say, like, I want to know what's running in production, whatever the name, whatever the tag, whatever, the digest of this image. I just want to know the one in production, I want to know the one in staging, etc. So if you go back to Docker Scout, the first thing we can have is kind of dashboard. That's the idea, to have a global overview of the supply chain. So in this case, we only have one image, so we don't have that fancy dashboard, but that's the first part. And we can see the image. So the image has been ingested. And the first thing we can say is we have vulnerabilities in this image. So something is already wrong. So let's explore the image. And this first part, we'll just look at the image layers. This view is also a view you can have inside Docker Desktop. If you just open Docker Desktop and click on any image, you will be able to see the internal of the image. So this is the different layers. This is the base image. But we can see all the details on the packages and the existing vulnerabilities. One thing that is pretty great is you can filter, like, if I just click on the base image, I can see exactly the vulnerabilities that are coming from this base image. So if I update my base image by a new one that is better, I will just reduce my vulnerabilities. And you can do that. You can start to explore the different packages, see all the different vulnerabilities. You can, select, the other layer that introduces a new one. But the problem with that is you have to do all the work yourself. You have to understand how it's made your image. You have to understand where are the different issues, where are the different packages. Or, if you want to update a package that is inside a base image, it's not the same thing that if it's a package you install yourself inside your image. So the question is, how can we make that smarter than just let you do the job? And that's where we're introducing policies. So the policy is just a way to express something more smarter. Like, maybe I don't care about all the vulnerabilities the same way. Like, if I have a vulnerability that is critical and there's already a version that contains a fix for this one, that will interest me. If there's a low vulnerability that there's no fix available, maybe it's one that, I can't do anything on this one. But if I just see the list of vulnerabilities, I have to pick the right one myself. So let's check, for instance, so in that case, we have 3 different policies that are not compliant. 2 of them are okay. So let's pick the one for the base image. So the thing is, we're introducing also remediation advice on that. And in that case, we'll just focus on the change base image. Like in that case, the base image is a 3.14, pushed 2 years ago, so that's quite old. And we give you different advice. So in that case, we suggest 3 different versions of Alpine that you can update, depending on your different constraints. We can't know everything, but we can suggest which one for us is probably the best, and in that case, it's 3.18. And if we look on the right, we can see that this base image has no vulnerability. So if I replace in my image just my base image, I will reduce by, I will remove 2 critical vulnerabilities, 16 high, etc. So let's do that. So if I go back to my image, I will just update the base image. Remove this 3.14 and just put the 3.18. And I will just rebuild it. This time, it's not pushed. So it's more like I'm in the position of a developer. I want to update my base image. I just build it locally. Another question is, if what I did is good or not? Should I push that on a pull request? Should I push that on staging, on my production? And that's where we started to be able to compare different images. So we have a command that is docker-compare. I will say, okay, I want to compare my local image. This is the version I just built, to the one that is running currently in production. If someone else between already push a new image in production, it will use this one, even if I don't know there's a new one. But I want to compare this one because what I want to improve is my production system at the end. It's not just on my machine. So it will grab all the details about the image locally. It will grab all the details we have on the production one. And I will be able to compare them. And for instance, I can know that OpenSSL has been upgraded in that case from 1.1 to 3.1. And this is the list of all the vulnerabilities that has been removed just by this change on the base image. I can see also that I have 26 vulnerabilities that has been removed by this change. But the most important part, this part is interesting if you want to really dig into the details and understand what's going on. But what's better is the comparison of the policies. Because what we saw here is we still have some critical issues. We didn't remove everything. No, on the critical, we remove everything, but on the high vulnerabilities, we still have 2 high vulnerabilities with fixes in the build image. But at the end, we improve the situation of the image. So it's not just black and white. It's not 0, 100. I want, every time I'm doing a small step, I want it better. And sometimes it's first like I'm introducing a new dependency, or I'm upgrading a package. Maybe I will remove 3 vulnerabilities, but introduce 1 critical at the same time. And I want to know what is really the impact. If my image is okay, maybe I can just push this one to production because that's good. That's what I wanted at the end. It was just a quick demo of what we can do with Docker Scout. So here is just a list of links and documentation. If there's only one you should care really, that's the docs.docker.com/Scout. We have an awesome docs team that is doing a very great job on the documentation. We are getting started. We have a lot of documentation to get you, really understand all the supply chain material, SBOM, etc. Everything is documented there. So just go there or just try scott.docker.com. This is also a very good step. We have a Docker CLI. We have a Docker CLI for that. We also have a GitHub action. And if you have any question, we have a booth that is just behind you. So we can just be there. I'll be there the afternoon and tomorrow. So any question or demos or whatever, I mean, just come by the booth. And thank you.